The next limited banner character, Aventurine, is almost here in Honkai Star Rail. As with any new character release, you're gonna hear content creators throwing out superlatives like must pull or easy skip, and to date I have never described any character in this game as a must pull, but Aventurine may honestly come close, at least for certain players. I also almost never give my opinions on a character pre-release, and I just let the numbers speak for themselves once the character's actually out, but I think Aventurine is being underestimated a bit by a big portion of the community. Here's my reasoning. As a shielder who can sustain your team while also dishing out good damage and synergizing with follow-up attacks, I believe Aventurine will be an S-tier character in all endgame modes. In Simulated Universe, shielding is an extremely important mechanic, and the only way to maximize the effectiveness of preservation blessings is with a good shielder. Currently the only reliable team shielder is Jeopard, so Aventurine will be great for any account that may not yet have the fortune of pulling Jeopard. If you want to clear the hardest stages in Golden Gears, for instance, a shielder makes this task significantly easier by using shields to increase your team's effective max HP and prevent you from getting one-shot by some of the harder bosses in this mode, which honestly is the biggest challenge in this mode. Aventurine isn't strictly better than Jeopard since the latter is going to be more SP positive, but having Aventurine can allow you to bring another SP positive support instead of another sustainer or another damage dealer. You can probably even run Aventurine and Jeopard together in Simulated Universe to really get the most out of those shield preservation blessings. As for Memory of Chaos and Pure Fiction, Aventurine should be able to solo sustain your team while also contributing a significant amount of damage. While he doesn't have the AoE capability that you want in Pure Fiction, he's probably going to be a much better option than running a more traditional sustain character like Lynx or even Locha. Whether or not he's on par with the S-tier sustainers like Fushuan and Huovo in this mode will likely depend on your team comp and the enemies you're fighting, but he should be an upgrade to most accounts in this mode as well. So back to the topic of whether or not Aventurine is a must pull. I think for newer players that don't yet have two good sustainers, yes, you can probably pull for him. A Fushuan rerun should be coming sooner rather than later, but there's a chance you could be waiting longer than you expect, and it's probably better to take advantage of Aventurine being here now unless you really prefer a different sustainer for your account. For more advanced accounts, obviously nobody is going to be a must pull, but I think Aventurine would be a good addition for almost anyone. As the only sustainer in the game that also synergizes with follow-up attacks, he'll probably be the number one option for anyone who enjoys the follow-up playstyle with Topaz and Dr. Ratio, etc. My original plans were to skip Acheron and pull for Aventurine, but I ended up spending quite a few pulls for Acheron and her light cone. I might throw a few 10 pulls on Aventurine, but probably won't get him with the limited resources I currently have as an FTP player. I'm also targeting a few rerun banners like Topaz, so I may go for Aventurine on a rerun if I manage to hit on the Topaz rerun banner. It's clear that Hoyoverse wants to push the follow-up attack playstyle, and I'd really like the flexibility of playing a follow-up attack team when I need to. So if you've already decided to pull for Aventurine, great. Now you might be wondering if his light cone is worth pulling for too. His signature light cone, Inherently Unjust Destiny, increases the wearer's defense by 40%. When the wearer provides a shield to an ally, the wearer's crit damage increases by another 40%, lasting for 2 turns. When the wearer's follow-up attacks hit an enemy target, there is a 100% base chance to increase the damage taken by the attacked enemy target by 10%, lasting for 2 turns. This light cone is by far going to be the best light cone for Aventurine, and it gives him everything he needs. The 660 defense it grants its user at S1 level 80 is the highest defense statted light cone in the game at the moment. This is on top of all the other synergies it gives, including the increased crit damage and the 10% increased team-wide damage. While we'll have to wait for the actual release to see how much better the signature light cone is than the other options, I imagine the gap is going to be quite massive. The next best light cone is probably Jeopard's light cone, Moment of Victory, but it only manages to keep up with Inherently Unjust Destiny in the defense department. It has no other synergies with Aventurine's kit, so it's going to be quite inferior. If you're wondering about the Herda's Lightstar cone, Texture Memories, this light cone doesn't really synergize at all with Aventurine's kit, and if you just need something to throw on him and only need him to be a tank for your team, it's probably okay, but he's probably going to hit like a wet noodle. A 4-star light cone like Concert for 2, which we'll be releasing with the update, is probably Aventurine's best free-to-play option. This light cone increases the wearer's defense by 16%, and for every on-field character that has a shield, the damage dealt by the wearer increases by 4%. Clearly, it's nowhere near as good as the signature light cone, but it at least gives you some of the stats you want on Aventurine, like a small defense boost and damage increase. Pulling for light cones is always going to be a pretty big investment, but in the case of Aventurine, I think it's worth it. Aventurine shines most when he can tank for your team and also dish out good damage, and only his signature light cone takes full advantage of his talents. I'd highly recommend pulling on the light cone banner if you can afford to. So to anyone who's deciding to pull on these banners, I wish you good luck. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.